appreciate it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bay Area Case Studies Virtual College Fair Explore session. We're really excited that you're here. Thank you for joining us. We are going to learn about some great schools together tonight. Now, I have a few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. You can direct your question to a specific school or schools by including the name of the school in your question, or you can leave a question for all of our representatives to answer. Your camera and your microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. That's why that Q&A button is so important. This is just one of many different sessions that are happening, so we hope that you will be ready and excited to sign up for and attend the College Fair programming that comes next. This presentation, as well as all of the presentations, are being recorded. They're going to be available at that same website where you can register, and that would be strivescan.com/BACS. So again, remember, they'll be there in about a week. So we hope that you'll be able to watch this again and also to catch some other presentations and learn more about awesome schools. So we have a variety of schools today that are going to be presenting to you. This is what's really awesome about the Explore session. These schools vary in size, location, and other characteristics. We really hope that this session will broaden your horizons during the college search. So today we are going to be hearing from the University of San Francisco, Macalester College, University of Redlands, Babson College, and Whitman College, and also hopefully Skidmore College. They're having a little technical glitch, but hopefully we will be getting them in soon. All right, everyone. So we're going to kick it off with our first school tonight. And I'd like to thank the University of San Francisco for starting us off. Rebecca?
Okay, wonderful. Let's get started. Sorry, I've made a rookie mistake and started talking without unmuting myself. So it's not as though I haven't been doing this for a year. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to share my screen really quickly, just so that I can share with you a quick presentation here. So let me just get that situated. So I'm representing the University of San Francisco. My name is Rebecca Williams. I'm an Associate Director of Admission here at the university. And what I really want to kind of, in my 6 short minutes to talk to you, is more importantly, just paint the ways in which we stand out, because you're going to hear from a lot of us tonight. And a lot of us may say some similar things and maybe say totally different things. So, we're going to be small to medium sized private liberal arts college. And those are, kind of just some kind of the high points about USF. And so really what I want to kind of spend a little bit of time talking about is just to sort of give you a kind of general overview of the university. So first thing I like to start out with is obviously our location, because I think for where we are, we're one of the only schools that is doing what we're doing. So we are properly located right smack dab in the middle of San Francisco, and probably really going to be a very urban campus. So when you're thinking about what kind of college experience that you want in a university, if you're thinking you want like an urban campus setting, that's going to definitely be our setting. So even for an urban campus, I think one of the things that we do really well is actually cultivate a strong sense of community on the campus. And so, we're going to be right sort of at the top of Golden Gate Park, and we're going to be, about 2.5 miles from Ocean Beach, 2.5 miles from the Bay. So really just in like a really like sweet center spot of the city. But more importantly than just location is who you're going to school with. So we're about 6,500 undergraduate students. So like I was saying, all those trademarks of the small liberal arts classroom experience, medium-sized campus, strong sense of community. But who are those 6,500 students? For our location and for where we are, I think we're highly representative of our area. So in our 6,500 students, we have over half of our students are coming from out of state, and we have 13% of our students are representing international communities. So we have 98 countries represented. All 50 states are represented. We bring in about 300 new transfer students every year. A third of our students are the first in their family to go to college. And we rank number 4 in the country in ethnic diversity. So those are like in those 6,500 students, those microcosms are going to show up a lot more. So if you're looking for like a very diverse student body body experience in classrooms of 22 to 30 students. Having so many students coming from so many different types of backgrounds, I think really influences not only your social experience on the campus, but also your academic experience on the campus. The other big defining piece to USF is that we are a Jesuit university. And while that doesn't necessarily mean that we have a huge religious expectation of you, in fact, only about 27% of our students identify as Catholic or Jesuit, but it does mean that we have this expectation that you, as a member of the 5% of the world that is going to have a college degree by the time you graduate, how are you going to lead and serve the other 95%? So there's a strong emphasis on this Jesuit idea of being men and women for others, and this idea of cura personalis, so care for the whole person. These are sort of the common themes that you're going to find on the campus. So, truly what that really boils down to and what that really makes up on our campus is that there's a very strong sense of social justice, which I don't think surprises anybody given our location and the diverse makeup of our student body. That is going to be, and I harp on this because I think really to know a university is to know its students and to know sort of the campus culture and the ethos of the campus. And that's really going to be some of the biggest points and some of the biggest pieces that are going to influence your experience on the campus. So really quickly, just want to highlight a couple of quick points on the academic side of things. So standard fare liberal arts and sciences curriculum. Our more competitive programs are going to be engineering and nursing. And then, we're going to have all of those all those hallmarks of the small liberal arts college. You're still going to spend your first year doing core curriculum. So that's kind of getting used to taking courses all across the board. And you're still going to have those small classroom experiences. When you are applying for admission, you are essentially admitted into all programs because you can switch your major. We do understand that you may or may not actually know what you want to do when you're 17, 18 years old. And so you're going to get that flexibility that you would get at pretty much any small, medium-sized liberal arts institution. Application process is really straightforward. It's a common application. So we have essays within that, your short answer, and we're going to be a test optional institution. We will continue to be letter of recommendation optional through this next year, but we will need your official high school transcripts. It's pretty straightforward application process. And when we say we're test optional, we've been doing this about 3-4 years now. We are truly test optional. You do not need to submit test scores in order to be competitive for admission. If you want to submit test scores, you can. I just recommend, familiarize yourself generally when you're thinking about submitting test scores with what are the median ranges of most institutions' test scores. And that applies for our nursing and our engineering programs, which are much more selective, but truly test optional. I know there's a lot of murkiness around that. EAED, November 1st, RD, January 15th. These are just sort of a couple of the really strong high points of the institution. The last thing I will say in my last minute, I think I have, is understanding the student body and understanding the campus culture. I think the one unique thing about, well, not really unique, but the one more distinctive and standout quality about USF is that there's not really a stereotypical student experience. If you want the D1 school spirit, you can go cheer on the home team. You can have that. We are Division I athletics. And you can also participate in all of our clubs, organizations, or our Greek life. So it's more of a choose your own adventure kind of school. With that, I will wrap it up.
Thank you so much, Rebecca, for sharing the University of San Francisco with everybody tonight and for kicking us off as the first school. Appreciate that. All right, our next school that we're going to be learning about is Macalester College.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for being here. Thanks for participating in a non-mandatory Zoom experience. You are exceeding expectations. My name is Ross Bronfenbrenner. I use the pronouns he, him, his. I'm an associate director of admissions and a member of the class of 2014 at Macalester College in St. Paul, Minnesota. And I really typically like to focus on two things when I present about Macalester, and I will share in advance that I am not screen sharing, so it's just going to be a little bit of sharing words today. I like to talk about two things, the first of which is location, which I do think makes us distinct. But in talking about our location today in the city of St. Paul, right next door to the city of Minneapolis, our greater Twin Cities community, I will certainly be focusing on the benefits and the opportunities and resources of being a Macalester student and being in the Twin Cities. But I also do want to take a moment to ground us in our current moment, in our current experience, and acknowledge many members of the McAllister community and the Twin Cities community, particularly members of the Black community, are holding a lot with them right now. And there was a jury verdict yesterday that spoke out unanimously for accountability. And there was a sense of many things in the Twin Cities, including relief and hope and acknowledgement of a lot of work still to be done toward justice and toward equity. And I wanted to name that and get that in this space first and foremost when I talk about location and honor the fact that the McAllister community is dedicated to being at the forefront of that work in whatever way we can. Because that is one of the two things I think is ultimately most distinct about McAllister is our location. So we are a small, private, selective, residential liberal arts college of about 2,100 students, as Rebecca identified quite well. A lot of us are going to have some fairly similar statistics and numbers, profiles, things that might start to blend together a little bit. And location, I think, is one thing that is distinct about Mac. We are a small school in a big city. We're 15 minutes from the state capitol, 15 minutes from a downtown, 15 minutes from the airport. And yet, if you stand in the center of our campus, you would have no idea. You could be on any liberal arts college campus in America. You step out on the right corner, you're surrounded by public transportation stops and coffee shops and apartment buildings. There's an MLS soccer stadium down the street, and you realize you're in the middle of an urban hub. And many students, when they're considering McAllister, when they tell me they're going to enroll at McAllister, location is one of the things that either put it on their list, kept it on their list, or brought it to the top of their list. That idea of a small, tight-knit, residential, academically rigorous, intellectually curious community in the middle of a city where you can step out of that bubble from time to time too. The second thing is mission, location and mission. Mission, we're an incredibly mission-driven institution. It's very specific and it's very impactful and important to us. 4 core values: academic excellence, internationalism, multiculturalism, and service to society. If those resonate with you, if those are of value to you, if those are things you want to give space and agency to, if you want to lean into conversations, often frankly challenging conversations about the way those may or may not manifest in your experience, you're going to find a sense of belonging in this community. And I think it was identified really well earlier. To get a sense of a community is to know its students and to know its ethos and its spirit. That is the spirit of McAllister. It is a mission of commitment to academic excellence and intellectual curiosity, particularly through the lenses of exploring multiculturalism, internationalism, service opportunities, global citizenship, cultural competencies, all of these things wrapped up in a single community. So that's what I like to highlight. I like to highlight location and I like to highlight mission. And if those resonate with you, I hope that McAllister makes its way onto your list. I am happy to be a resource for you moving forward. I am the California rep. I'm a Bay Area native with my little Golden Gate Bridge there in the background. I've spent a decade in the Bay Area and a decade in Minnesota. So if you want to talk about weather, I'm more than happy to. And otherwise, I just want to end with a thank you. Say thank you for your time. Thank you for your interest in, again, spending your evening with some college reps, learning a little bit more on this process that you're about to embark on, and ultimately leave you, I hope, with the fact that the reps on this side of the desk are humans who have desks in their living rooms in the current moment, but we want to hear from you. We want to help. We're here to guide you through this process and support you in it, not just necessarily to make a decision at the end. So again, thanks for your time. Happy to chat more about McAllister with any questions, and enjoy the rest of the program.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ross, for sharing McAllister College with us tonight. All right, we've heard from 2 great schools. We've got a couple more to go. I want to welcome some of our more recent attendees who've joined us. Just a reminder to everyone, that Q&A button on your screen is open. It's a great place to ask questions. You can direct it to a specific school or schools to learn more about something you've heard or follow up, ask about a major or activity. And you can also leave a question that's more general or directed to all of our representatives to answer about their schools. So please, we hope you'll use that Q&A button to help personalize the experience for you all tonight. And I've also added to the chat just a list of the schools that we'll be hearing from. So everyone who has joined us recently will have an idea of who's been presenting and what's to come. All right, we're going to move on to our next school, and I'm excited to welcome the University of Redlands.
Alrighty, hello everyone. Sorry if you hear a dog barking, that would happen to be my dog. She's upset at the UPS man. Sorry about that. Alrighty, so there we go. Alrighty, so my name is Dulce Garcia. I'm an admissions counselor at University of Redlands. I use she, her, hers pronouns. The University of Redlands is a small private liberal arts university located in Southern California. We are located on the traditional homelands of the Serrano-Cahuilla people. So just a little bit more about the location of University of Redlands. We are right smack in the middle of Southern California. We are close to beaches, mountains, desert, LA, Anaheim, all those wonderful places that you'd want to have around while you are in college. One of the best things about Redlands, though, is that Redlands in itself is a pretty amazing city. The city of Redlands was named one of the top college towns by AAA magazine a few years ago. And another perk is that we have the average weather be about 80 degrees every day, so no snow at all. So just a little bit about who we are. University of Redlands, like I said, we are a liberal arts university. We're pretty small. We have 160 acres of land in which we have 2,500 undergraduates. We are a pretty residentially focused institution. We do have a 4-year housing guarantee where about 70% of our students do live on campus the full time. So again, a pretty tight-knit community. We really pride ourselves on an inclusive and diverse community. So we'll learn a little bit more about that. But one of the most important things about Redlands is our mission. Who are we and what are we trying to do? The University of Redlands says that we want to educate the heart and the mind of the scholar. So we really value the education that happens within the classroom setting. So that would be educating the mind, but also the education that happens when you explore your passions, your interests, all those extracurricular activities. So that is educating the heart. And we believe that by informing both of those things, you can really become the best you, a really well-rounded student and someone who is better able to serve their community. So just a little bit about student life at Redlands, pretty dynamic little campus. Like I said, most people live on campus. There's tons to do. We do have over 100 clubs and organizations that you can be a part of. We do have Greek life, if that is something that is of interest to you, as well as Division III athletics. We have 21 sports that qualify. We're pretty competitive. About 75% of our sports do rank nationally. So pretty fun there. One of the most important things at Redlands, though, is our commitment to service. So all of our students must complete 80 hours of service before they graduate from Redlands. So that really allows our students to be able to inform what they are learning in the classroom by having hands-on experience within their communities. And just a little bit more about that campus diversity. We are in Southern California, so we are in a very diverse place in the world. So our campus definitely has the resources for our students. We do have a multicultural center, Pride Center, Gender Justice Center, Native Student Program Center, first generation student programs, as well as the Office of International Student Scholars. So here's a little bit more about those athletics. If you're interested in something like that, definitely let our coaches know. So like I said, a big focus on housing, but also a lot of support for our students. We do have academic support services, tutoring, counseling services that our students can definitely use with the cost of tuition. A little bit about academics at Redlands. We do really pride ourselves on a personalized education. We do have a 13:1 student to faculty ratio where the average classroom size is about 18. So that really allows our students to be able to ask questions, to think critically, to engage with others. And it also allows our students to be able to participate in research with faculty members. Most of our research is done by undergraduates, so that really allows our students to have that opportunity. Here are some of our programs. We do have over 40 majors. They're pretty diverse. They range from things like biochemistry and engineering to creative writing and theater business. Some of our keynote programs are going to be the Johnson Center for Integrative Studies in the School of Music. So if you're interested in building your own major, definitely give Johnston a try. And if you're interested in music, the School of Music at Redlands is one of the oldest in the state of California, and it is conservatory style education. We really do have a really big commitment on globalization. So our students do have the opportunity to study abroad. About 54% of our students will have an away experience. We do have over 100 destinations, including our beautiful castle in Salzburg, Austria. And finally, a really big focus on your future. Over 90% of our graduates go off to the workforce or graduate school within a year of leaving the University of Redlands. We do have a 4-year graduation guarantee, which is really important in the state of California, so you can graduate on time. Finally, in regards to admissions, we do a holistic review process. We do accept the common application and look at a majority of things that are listed here. We do have 3 different deadlines on 2 different dates. Early decision and early action are due on November 15th, and regular decision is due on January 15th. In regards to financial aid, Redlands does offer merit and need-based scholarship as well as talent-based scholarships. And if you have any questions about Redlands, please feel free to stay connected with us. Here's some information, and we would love to chat with you in the future. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dulce, for presenting on University of Redlands for us today. All right, we are moving on to our next school. We'll be hearing from Babson College.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Just want to share my screen really quickly and we will get going about Babson. All right, so thank you so much for taking some time tonight to learn about our really great college opportunities. My name is Carly Ryan. I am a Senior Regional Assistant Director here at Babson. So I will be located in Southern California, be on your time zone soon, and be able to work with students out on the West Coast. So if anyone does have any questions on Babson, I'll be the contact there. I know you're getting a lot of information tonight and going to get even more. So I just wanted to take a few minutes of your time to talk to you about Babson College here in Wellesley, Massachusetts. There are 4 different areas I want to touch on tonight, details about academics, student life, career outcomes, and eventually the admission process. So to get started on Babson, Babson College educates entrepreneurial leaders who create great economic and social value everywhere. Entrepreneurial leadership is something extremely important to Babson. It's something that we focus on right from the start, as we are a business school. So students here at Babson, I'll talk about the academics a little bit later, but they are leaders already before even getting to campus, learning to amplify those skills from their first day here. At Babson, we do believe that entrepreneurship can be a powerful force within an organization of all types and sizes. And here at Babson, students do have that entrepreneurship mindset. So maybe you want to start your own business, or maybe you just want to learn about some aspects of business or anywhere in between. No matter what, we're going to teach you through small class sizes, how to take risks, how to think outside the box, how to not be afraid of failure, and if failure eventually does present itself, how to pivot from that. So again, whether you're thinking you want to be an entrepreneur, starting your own business, or you have no interest in that and just want to do the business industry, anywhere in between, these skills will help you in any future industry. We've been rated #1 for entrepreneurship for 24 years and counting. This is where, you know, again, we'll go into the academics, but since we are a business school, you'll hear entrepreneurial thought and action a lot. It's a motto at our school as well, just to have students thinking in that mindset. A little bit about our location. We are 10 miles outside of the city of Boston. Students use and access the city right from our campus for many, of course, different professional and social reasons. We always like to say we have the best of both here. We have a small residential campus that students can walk around. It's beautiful, it's green, can see students and friends all over campus. But we also have a hustling and bustling city in close proximity. You're really close to Boston with a lot of different ways to get there and access the city. So here's a quick overview of our class of 2024 profile, so you can get just a small idea about the student body here at Babson. We're looking for about 600 students per class, so about 2,400 undergraduate students total. We have students coming from all over the United States and all over the world. So we're a very global campus. We have 40 countries represented, 35 states there as well. We have about 6,500 applications that do come through every year, which gives us an admit rate of about 27%. So just taking a look there, we have a few different ways to apply: early action, early decision, and regular decision. And we are a test optional school this year. So if you are wanting to apply to Babson, we will be for the near future as well. So students can see those mid-range or middle range grades there for SAT or ACT. For here at Babson, we do have small class sizes. We will have students 14:1 student to faculty ratio, and average class is about 30 students. That's something we really do like to touch on about our global campus. Students are coming from all different backgrounds and cultures to learn from each other, but also teach about their own. So it makes the student body in the classes really fun to get to learn from all different people. Here at Babson, as I mentioned before, since we are a business school, students will graduate with a Bachelor of Science in Business. We don't have the standard major or minor programs here like you might learn about some of the other schools tonight, but we offer our Bachelor of Science in Business, and we have 27 concentrations to complement that degree. Those range in all different industries. We have fashion, we have finance, we have some liberal arts ones, so we have politics, we have history. So whatever you're really looking to do, you can pair a concentration or two with that Bachelor of Science in Business. We also have students take 50% of our courses in liberal arts. So if you are looking for a liberal arts background, you'll get that here at Babson as well. And then just at the bottom, we have the Babson, Olin, and Wellesley partnership, which Olin is an engineering school, Wellesley is a liberal arts school. Students can take courses at those different colleges, which are in close proximity to us, just to open the course catalog a little bit more. And just two classes I want to touch on. We look for experiential learning options here at Babson. Every college, but here at Babson, we of course want to teach you how to do as well. FME is a hands-on entrepreneurship course that every freshman will take. We actually will start your own business with funding from Babson. You'll get to start a business from scratch. So coming up with the idea, putting in place different employees within that business, and then actually making that product and selling it. At the end of the semester, students will actually take that money that they learned or that they earned, liquidate their business and donate to a charity. And then another one that we have is called McPhee, or Management Consulting Field Experience. This is a consulting course, of course, for different companies where students will work with a company and who will submit a project in topics like marketing, sustainability, things like that, and work with them to come up with a solution. We've worked with the Red Sox, we worked with Dunkin' Donuts, so a few different opportunities there. And these are just some ways to get involved at Babson with Division III sports and 100 student clubs and orgs. And just talking here about the smart investment, we are on the Common App. We have our own application. Students applying to Babson, if you can see here, we have a 99% placement rate within 6 months of graduation. Students are attending grad school or employment. And finally, we do meet 100% of demonstrated needs through the FAFSA and the CSS profile. So I know that was a very speedy version of Babson. If you have any questions, just let me know. Once again, my name is Carly, and thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you so much, Carly, for presenting on Babson. All right, we're off to our next school, which will be Whitman College. Henry?
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. When you think about Whitman, we are in the very southeastern corner of Washington. We're a private liberal arts school, and we can talk more about what that means later if you're not familiar. And these are some of the hard, fast facts. You'll understand that we're one of the smallest schools you're going to find with 1,500 people. The class sizes are going to be small. You're going to have a ton of academic flexibility. And some of those factors are true and similar at a lot of other small schools. What I want to focus on are some of the things that jump out to me, as some of the other colleagues have mentioned, as key reasons why people choose Whitman over other schools. And it starts with the academic curriculum, specifically rigor. You may think of rigor right now as the number of AP, IB courses you're taking in high school. And in reality, Whitman has a very innovative and interdisciplinary approach to thinking about rigor. I want you to be thinking about your applications and taking the courses, one, that you want to be challenged in, and two, that you are most passionate about. Because Whitman students who succeed are those who come and jump right into the academic departments they care most about. Particularly on the interdisciplinary front, you're going to see students double majoring, combining majors, creating their own individually planned majors. For example, we just had a summer intern last year combine the astronomy and physics programs into an astrophysics major. You're going to have a ton of flexibility and autonomy in over how you use the curriculum. It's also a very experiential type of learning here. We are fortunate to be surrounded by incredible geographic landscapes with rivers and desert and mountains. So students are constantly, particularly in the STEM fields, getting outside of the classroom and learning in new ways. You're also going to see many different styles of learning too. I think one of the best things about the Whitman curriculum is that no matter whether you are in a biology class or a philosophy class, you're going to have discussion mixed in, both on the peer level with your faculty one-on-one, and you're going to get that leadership of guiding class discussion with your peers. It doesn't matter what type of subject you're taking. And so building that social skill set and critical thinking is going to be prevalent at all fronts. and really helps to create a very unique curriculum. But as much as Whitman students focus on the academic challenge and the rigor, we also make sure to focus extremely on the community and the type of opportunities on campus that we're building. You might be involved in the outdoor program, the debate team, athletics, the music and arts performing sector, but whatever path you choose, you're going to dive right in. I think that's a constant characteristic of Whitman students is they are unabashedly passionate about their hobbies and will go right in without being told to pursue it with gusto. These are students who demonstrate in the application that they are passionate about their hobbies and activities, and they want to continue that at the college level. And one of the, I think most inspiring things from my view as an admission officer is that these are people who want to support each other. It's not such a competitive environment like you might find at a lot of other top-notch liberal arts schools, but rather people are trying to maximize their own experiences because there's so many different opportunities for success, both in the classroom and out, that you're not going to be stepping on someone's toes to succeed. You're going to have your own room to operate and flourish. And finally, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the location and why students choose Whitman. I should mention that Whitman is located on the Confederated Tribes of the Umatilla Indian Reservation and land that was unceded. So on one hand, students are constantly working with representatives of the indigenous peoples here to make sure that our statues, monuments, and our ongoing discussions about reparations pay homage to those groups. But particularly important also is the scenery and the natural landscapes that students take advantage of. It's a huge reason why students are relatively stress-free and are able to navigate this academic rigor with such success. And we're in the beautiful town of Walla Walla, where you're going to get access to not only small town community and close relationships with your peers, staff members, local leaders, but you're also going to have great opportunities for professional development. And you should be asking the question of yourself, if I go to a liberal arts school, a small college, how am I going to get that professional development and set of tangible skills that will lead to success in the workplace? And in Walla Walla, you'll find a community that gives you that empowerment and opportunity to succeed both in a job as well as graduate school right away. Finally, I'll just share some broader general admission and financial aid information. And certainly on the financial aid side, these are very individual conversations that we'll have with you. But you'll see some of the key deadlines that we adhere to with admission. I'll mention that even before the pandemic, Whitman was test optional for 4 or 5 years, and that has no plans of changing. So we really want to take a look at the entire picture of you as an applicant, the courses you're most passionate about, what activities you spent the most time in, really what your goals are for college going forward, how you've grown as an individual. Please take advantage of an interview with our admission office. It's open to only seniors, but we will do that with a senior admission intern or an admission officer. That will really help us get to know you better because we're in a position where we can actually read fewer applications than most schools and get to know you as the individual and a human being. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me with questions about this. I'm going to be leaving my information here in the chat so that you can follow up and contact me. We have a few different admission officers who work with students in California, but we're all super eager to talk to you and help guide you in your college search. So I really appreciate all of your time tonight. And if you have questions about the liberal arts environment, Whitman specifically, and how it compares to other schools, I will be happy to follow up via email or in another format going forward. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll turn it back over to Jennifer.
Thank you so much, Henry, for presenting on Whitman. All right, well, as Henry mentioned, he's going to be putting some info in the chat, and I want to make sure that any of our other representatives have the time to do that as well, and also for our attendees to think of any Q&A questions they want to ask and be able to get some of that information that is shared. So I actually have a couple Q&A questions that we're going to answer live, so I'd like to invite each representative to come back on camera. For these questions, we're going to go in the exact same order that you presented. As the representative ahead of you finishes, just feel free to turn your microphone back on and answer the question. I'll just kind of like free flow 1 through 5 together tonight. So thank you so much to Rebecca from University of San Francisco, who will be kicking us off for each question again as well. So the first question I would love to hear from each of you to share a favorite event, tradition, program on campus. It can be student life-oriented, career, or academic. That just gives a little more insight into that experience and your campus culture for your students. So take it away, Rebecca.
Yeah, so I will share what I share. One of the ones that I've shared previously is, I think, probably the students' favorite tradition on campus is Donnaroo that happens every year. So this is a play on a music festival called Bonnaroo. We're the Dons, that's our mascot. So it's Donnaroo that happens every year. And they bring and have a big music festival that's free to students on the campus and lasts for a full weekend. And I think that if you asked any USF student, that is probably going to be the very first thing that they say is their favorite, quote unquote, tradition that happens every year.
I'll stick in the tradition vein, and many institutions have similar iterations of this. We do midnight breakfast, which is 10 p.m. to midnight the night before your first day of finals. We open our dining hall. We only serve breakfast foods. It is completely free to attend. Even students who aren't on our meal plan just go in with their McAllister ID, and the food is served by faculty and staff. As a junior at McAllister, I was given scrambled eggs and bacon by our then president the night before finals, and it just it's this fun tradition that represents the liberal arts. We take ourselves seriously, but not too seriously to skip pancakes.
Awesome. Alrighty. So University of Redlands, one of my favorite traditions is the fact that our mascot is the Bulldogs. And we do have a live mascot. Her name is Addie. She's the first female mascot at University of Redlands. We've had one since 1918. So she's pretty important, pretty special. She is the Queen of Redlands. She was actually coronated when she became the mascot. So that's pretty fun. She's very active at Redlands. She goes to football games, she goes to basketball games, all that fun stuff. And she is very active on TikTok and Instagram if you'd like to follow her.
Great. So at Babson, I'll go off the events, back to the events. We do have something called Spring Day, where it's just at the end of classes in the spring semester. All the students will go into the city of Boston. They've rented out House of Blues before, they've done Red Sox games. So just a way to kind of enjoy being with each other before everyone goes home after finals and have one last celebration for the end of the year.
In the theme of spring, ducks are kind of the unofficial mascot of Whitman's campus. There are some heated ponds on campus, so you'll even see them in the winter. But every spring, there is a giant rubber duck hunt all around campus for a raffle that students get to enter if they get a certain amount of ducks. And I promise you, it is the only time you will see them excited to be up at 7:30 on campus running around because they know there are good prizes at stake. So we really lean hard into the duck theme in the spring.
I love the answer to this question because I think it touches on so many topics that are unique to each of your campuses, but also themes that people will find when looking around at schools of cute mascots, fun events, things that catch students' attention, get them excited, and just bring that community spirit together, and everyone kind of rallies around. So I love this one. All right, so I know we've got a few questions in the Q&A box that our representatives are answering, so I'm going to give everyone a chance to do that, but ask another question along the way. So admissions professionals, we have a great group here, and these admissions reps, as well as other colleagues, are really that #1 resource for students and families to explore, to learn. This is just a sneak peek. But this college search process, it can already seem daunting or overwhelming, but I think also in the time of COVID, it's added some unique challenges over the last year. So while we have these professionals here, I would love to know from each of you a top tip or piece of advice that you could share with our parents that are in attendance tonight that might help them as they navigate this with their students.
Yeah, every year I think I waffle back and forth on what's going to be the best piece of advice, and I think it's sometimes particular to the moment and to the year. I do think that one of the tried and true pieces of advice that I have, would give is to just let trust your child, trust your student at this point, and let them sort of lead this process. Every year I see a lot of parents who it's out of wanting the best for their child that they want to kind of curate this perfect and particular list. But your child has been raised right at this point and they know what they want. And so just trust them and let them guide their way and curate their own list and their own college choices.
Yeah, I can jump off of that, and I'm blatantly taking this from another rep who gave this piece of advice, and now I will always give it, is that remember at every point in this process that in the aggregate, you make twice as many decisions as we do. Your students choose where to apply, we choose who we admit, and then they choose where they're going. And I think this process is so often geared around that middle decision. And I'd love a little bit of focus on the decisions on the bookends there. And speaking as the one who makes the decision in the middle, I think the most impactful ones are the ones on the front and the back. And remembering as you go through this that yes, there's going to be some good news, there's going to be some tough news. It's a balance, it's a roller coaster, but ultimately you and your students are in the driver's seat of that for the beginning and the end. And that you're going to have some ups and downs in the middle, but if you remember the beginning and the end, you're going to set yourself up for success.
Awesome. I think one of my pieces of advice that I give every time that I'm asked this is regarding financial aid. And I think it's more relevant now with, the whole pandemic and what has happened. I always tell families, don't be afraid of applying to a place that you think is really expensive. And I say that now more than ever because a place might have a really high tuition. I think I speak for most of my colleagues because we're all private institutions. We probably have a pretty steep sticker price. But I think all of us would also agree that that is not what most people pay. And with the pandemic, I know that there has been a lot of shift, a lot of changes, and we are all afraid of what that implies for the future. Apply anyway, because at the best, then you might get really great financial aid package. And if it's not that great news, then you always have some other options to fall back on, but you won't know unless you try. So don't let the initial sticker price kind of deter you from applying to a school that might end up being the best choice for you and your child.
Great. I think my advice would be for any parents listening and students is don't forget to let your student enjoy being 17 and being in high school. And the college process is important and it's stressful, especially with a pandemic on top of that. But to let these students enjoy the process of getting to write about themselves and brag about themselves a little bit and let their voice come through because they've done some really great things so far that we're so excited to read about. So having these students just relax, enjoy their time, and the important stuff will get done and have their voice come through a little bit more than the parent voice should, to let the students kind of run the show here.
Yeah, all of those pieces of advice are awesome. I would offer something really tangible that I think people should do before the pandemic, after the pandemic, and especially now. Think about the schools that are in close proximity to you and visit them even if you have zero intention of going there. Take advantage of schools that are near you to visit, because by visiting an assembly of schools that are very different in size, mission, you will be able to understand how schools differ 3,000 miles away. And that will help you put together your application list at a time where there are restrictions in place on where you can visit and which campuses are offering in-person tours, because you will be able to get the virtual information, hopefully visit at the end of the year. But if you can't do it in the fall, visit a school that's similar to it close by to you so that you can at least understand what you're getting into and if that type of school is a good fit on a systemic level, even if not on a specific campus level. So do not neglect the schools that are nearby you.
This is all amazing, amazing tips. And I agree with everything that each of our representatives have shared. And I can't hesitate but to add my own, which is ask questions and build relationships. These 6-minute presentations now and in the college fair are just a peek. And there is so much that's there virtually online especially this year for students and parents to read, but nothing can replace asking questions to the admissions representative for your student's area and finding out even more about the school and personalizing that. These are the people who can connect you with other resources and people, from students to faculty, to really get to know more about what it is that you are looking for and what that experience could look like. And they are, as much as I know, like Ross said, there's so much input on that middle and on that middle decision, but at the end of the day, I can tell you that admission counselors are really there to share the school, but to also help families in navigating this process. And I hope that you've seen that they are friendly, approachable, and welcoming people who really do want to connect. And so I hope that Tonight, you maybe are going to take a look at some schools or school types that maybe you hadn't thought about before, or that you're feeling inspired to take this knowledge and apply it in all sorts of different ways, whether it's about specific schools or just how to navigate the process and learn about what different places have to offer. So that's leading us to our end point. So first of all, to say thank you to all of our admissions representatives. It's not just the logistics and the facts and figures of the process that you all share, but just the obvious passion and excitement that you have for your students' experience in and out of the classroom. To our families and parents that are here, thank you for taking the time to participate in the case study, coming to this Explore session, and we hope that you will be attending the College Fair session next and learning about more great schools and options that are out there, because we have some great schools all across this country. And now we're at that logistics part. So when you close your window, there's going to be a link to a very quick 4-question survey. We'd appreciate any feedback that you can provide. Again, this has also just been one of many different sessions that are being hosted. So again, it's still time to select and attend the College Fair portion of the event. And also know that this session, as well as all of the sessions, are being recorded. So you're able to watch it again or share with family and friends, watch it with your student, and also to learn about other great programs from the other sessions. And you can do all of that at the same website where you registered, and that's strivescan.com/BACS. So again, thank you everyone for taking the time tonight. Best wishes in the college search and decision journey. I know it can feel overwhelming, but it's really a great and fun adventure ahead as your student finds their next place and home to continue their education and keep growing. So thank you again, everyone, and have a wonderful day. Bye.